Watch out for the Big 12. That's going to be entertaining as we get into October. The Big 10, obviously, we know the players there. I do want to focus on the ACC for a minute because the wild game on Friday night with Miami and Virginia Tech, you're like, oh, here goes Miami losing the game they probably shouldn't. They're in play. Somehow Duke's undefeated. Oh, by the way, Paul, Clemson has found their groove again with their lone loss to Georgia.
Yeah, and back to Georgia for 1 second. That,
Yeah.
that is now a calling card for the Dogs. They really need Clemson to keep going because if Clemson can for the most part run the table with only maybe one loss, Georgia looks a lot better if they're not the SEC champion. But I think of the ACC, I think of the great stories, and then the most obvious ones, Florida State. I mean, there are no words for them.
Was that we asked the question? Was that rock bottom
Yeah.
against new SMU? Kevin Jennings. I mean, Rhett Lashlee just absolutely boat raced Florida State.
I mean, we heard SMU. You've seen them. Would be a interesting factor, and they are. And Florida State is just we'll check back with you next year. And I'm not going to waste a lot of time on beating a dead horse, but every week it's harder to watch the train wreck that is Mac Brown.
Oh, I was going to bring it up, and I was going to kind of weave into there, 25 miles an hour, not 75 miles an hour, but it was 20-0.
Yeah,
I mean, it was 20-0. Manny Diaz, a coach that was fired by Mac
yeah.
when he was at Texas. I mean, you feel bad for Mac because he's a Hall of Famer. You just don't know where that thing's headed.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not going to waste it. I mean, that's a pretty big rivalry in about a 10 square mile area of North Carolina between Duke and North Carolina. You can't lose like that. And yeah, I mean, I think his path is to finish the season and do whatever he would like the rest of his life. That doesn't involve being a head coach at North Carolina.
It's a shame too because he built that thing back up. Sam Howell, Drake May. I mean, it's like Max still got it, but and it's going to echo loudly based on what he said a week ago. So the ACC is another one that's competitive.
I might turn